Hi there, this is Tony from pianotone.ca, and this is a quick video on chord inversions. Let's check it out. So chord inversions, what are they and why do you need them? Well, if you're a beginning piano player like I am, and you're learning piano with a chord-based approach, you're going to encounter chord inversions pretty early on in your training. So you might be thinking, well, I've already learned my major and minor chords. What do I need to learn different versions of them? You're just making my life more complicated. Well, there's a couple of really good reasons that you need to get comfortable with chord inversions in your piano playing. But before we get into that, I just want a quick review on your major and minor chords on the piano. We call them triads. These are going to be the first ones you're likely to learn. They're called triads just simply because there's three notes in them. So a major chord, if you start with your root note to figure out what a major chord is, let's say C, you're going to go up 4 half steps to get to E, that's the second note in your chord, and then you're going to go up 3, and that gets you to G. So there's your C major chord, and you can do that formula of 4 and 3 anywhere on the piano to find a major chord. The minor chord, you just flip the formula and it's 3-4. So you start at C and you go up 3, and then you go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's your minor chord, or minor triad. So all inversions are basically playing the exact same notes of your chord, only in a different order. So for example, if that's my C major chord, I might take that G and move it down here. I can even take the E and then move it down there. So that's just an inverted C chord, and that's an inverted C chord. But they're all C chords, and you can use them whenever you need to play a C chord. So what's the first reason that you would want to get inversions into your piano playing? Well, the first reason is it can make your song considerably easier to play. So for example, let's say your first two chords in your song were C major and E minor. Well, you can play them like that if you want, but you might want to look at some different options for inverted chords. So let's take this C. Let's move down that G like we did. Let's move down this E as well. So if I play my C chord here, all I have to do to get an E minor chord is move that one finger down. These other two fingers are staying in the same place. So instead of going, I can go like this. It's a lot easier to play. Now the second reason that you want to get inverted chords into your piano playing is it can actually change how the song sounds. You can just tell from that little example. If you're keeping your hands closer together on the piano as you play and as you change chords, those chord changes are going to be a little more subtle. As opposed to if you're moving up and down the keyboard for chord changes, they're going to sound a little bit more pronounced. And maybe that's what you want. If you want a more pronounced sound, then use those versions of the chords. If you don't, if you prefer for that song that you're playing to have a more subtle chord change, then you can start looking at chord inversions. So I recently started learning how to play House of the Rising Sun by the Animals, which is a really cool 60s organ song. And as I was learning how to play it, it became pretty clear that it would be a great example for the use of inverted chords. So if you check out the next video, it's going to show playing the verse of that song with just the root position chords, so no inversions. Okay, so in that video you would have seen how much movement there was in the chords with the root position. So the next video is going to show how you can take that and turn it into inverted chords that might make it a little bit easier to play and might sound a little cooler as well. So the first two chords are A minor and C major. So if we take that top note from the C major and move it down, suddenly it's way closer to the A minor. Now the next chord is D major, so if we take the top note from that and move it down, That brings it really close to the C major. So now what we have for the first three chords, suddenly we're not moving around as much. The next chord is an F major, so we're going to move down the top note. Then we're going to move down that second note as well. And that brings it down nice and close to the other chords we're using. So here's what we have so far: A minor, C major, D major, and F major. Next chord we've got, we're playing the A minor again, then way up to the E minor. So we're going to move that note down. And then we're going to do the same thing we did before and move the second note down as well. That gets it nice and close. So A minor, E minor, A minor, and E minor, nice and close together. So playing all the chords in root position, we're up to the C, D major, F major, A minor, E minor, A minor, and E minor. Now this is what it's going to look like once it's inverted. A lot less movement. A minor, C major, D major, F major, A minor, E minor, A minor, and E minor. Okay, so in the second video, you can see that I'm not moving my hands anywhere near as much. And the chord changes are a little more subtle and I think sound a little bit cooler. I'm going to play both versions on the piano right now. I'm not going to use an organ setting because the piano is going to have a bit of a clearer sound for hearing the chord changes. So let's check that out. So I don't know which version of those two that you preferred, but I definitely preferred the second one. I thought it sounded a lot better with more subtle chord changes, but it was, you can probably tell by watching, that's a lot easier to play. So how did I practice chord inversions? Basically, just I would pick one of the C inversions or G inversion, and I would insert it into a song that I was practicing, and I would just practice it over and over again until it became familiar. I've actually got some backing tracks both on my YouTube channel and on my website at pianotone.ca that I actually use myself still all the time. Just some common chord progressions with drums and guitar and stuff that will allow me to practice things like this. So I would play, for example, the four chord song with a different inversion on one or all of the chords, and then I would try it again with yet another inversion and just keep practicing it over and over again. And what started to happen is as I became more familiar with them, then I go to learn some new song and it immediately is apparent to me that, hey, a second inversion of a G chord might fit in really well here. So just basically repetition and practice works really well. So hopefully this video helps you out, and keep playing your piano and practicing and having fun, and have an awesome day.